Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to a very special extra interview of Final Cut. And today I'm joined by an actress who has been on TV shows such as Riverdale and Chesapeake Shores. Now, to be brutally honest, two shows I've never got a chance to watch because unfortunately social media has too much choice. But I'm really hoping I can get some insight into both of them off this lady today. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Miss Brittany Willacy.
Hello, hello. And thank you for pronouncing my name right. By the way, nobody in Canada says Brittany. It's always Brittany. So it's nice to hear my name said properly.
But yeah, there was a couple of movie actresses named Brittany. I think there was, there's Brittany Snow, isn't there? I think Brittany Murphy had the same way of spelling as well, yeah. So I guess the inevitable question is, how are you this morning?
I am very well, thank you. It's a kind of sunny-ish day here in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, I'm so envious. We in dear old England have
it's
had
rare.
overnight snow. We've had overnight snow, so everyone's panicking, going emergency shopping, which we don't need to do. But aside from that, we're all good. So I guess the inevitable question is the question I always start with, which is, how did you get started out in acting?
Right. How does any actor get started out? I guess it's in you. So it was in me. I was always just a goofy kid putting on plays and trying to make movies with my friends at a very young age. Lucky to be in a great school system that had musicals and programs that, supported young artistic brains. And then I had a film program that I started when I was quite young, like 14 or so. And that kind of got the ball rolling in terms of like creating a network to make short films. I then decided I wanted to move to Vancouver and pursue a film program here, an acting program here. And it's kind of just been a slow rolling go since. Got an agent, got auditioning, thousands of auditions later, here we are.
Fair enough. Now, obviously, a lot of people have certain influences. I mean, the girls from Fifth Harmony, a lot of them, I believe the influences range as far from Beyonce to Christina Aguilera to Rihanna. I myself, being a movie fan, I'm a big fan of Chris Nolan, Hans Zimmer. Ben Affleck has kind of gotten on my radar the past couple of years just because of how
does Hans Zimmer fit in there with all of those guys? I mean, I love Hans. That's so cool. Not quite Ben Affleck, but
The thing is with Hans Zimmer, I watched Gladiator. First time I watched it, which was about 2001, I think it was. And to be honest with you, the music in it was just so brilliant. But on my playlist on Amazon Music, I still have Now We Are Free. You know the song at the end?
Yeah.
I still have that. I still listen to it.
Yeah. I have a ton of Mr. Zimmer's music on my not iPod, but on my music Spotify too. I just love his soundtracks are the best.
Yeah, and he's a recurring, I'll say, a collaborator with Chris Nolan, and everything they do just tends to turn to magic, if not diamond. So some of my influences, everyone who listens to interviews knew that was coming. So who are your influences?
Oh man, I have a ton of influences too. I am so inspired by people who successfully do what I dream to do. So like the Tina Feys of the world, anybody who can like think of a great story and bring it to fruition in a funny, heartfelt way. Like those are pretty much my biggest influences. Lots of directors, of course, lots of writers, musicians. I mean, as a young kid, I had a pretty like limited choice from what my heroes could be. I was listening to a lot of like Celine Dion and Roche Voisine and the Beatles because that's what my parents listened to. So I had a lot of that in my influence. But then growing up, like P.T. Anderson for sure is one of my biggest loves for directors. Wes Anderson. I love Lena Dunham and what she's done with her projects as well. I'm definitely inspired by creative people who have not just seriousness to them, but then also have like a playful, childlike, goofy kind of side too. I think that would be that's in the direction I want to be heading.
Definitely not the Arnold Schwarzenegger route then.
Not as much. Yeah, no.
Now,
Bless him though. He's a hell of a guy.
he's even managed to do a bit of comedy in the 80s and 90s. I'm not quite
Oh
sure
yeah.
how comedic he was, but they were comedies, so what else can we say? Now, obviously, your career has been quite vast. You started out in an old, just trying to remember what network it used to be on, but it was called The L Word, and I actually did used to watch
Yeah.
one of the seasons of it.
Showcase, I think.
Yep. So, what was it
Yeah.
like being on a series like that?
I mean, that was really cool. That was my first job, my first like professional acting gig. And I was so green. I was so nervous. I remember getting my hair and makeup done beside like Sybil Shepherd, who was also in that episode, and just being like racked with nerves. And not wanting to say anything, not wanting to like overspeak anybody. I didn't even want to go get like lunch because I was so afraid to leave my trailer. So nerve-wracked. And then I think I even in a rehearsal, I jumped a line and I spoke over top of Sybil or something. I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing here?
It just creeps in right there and then.
Oh God, all my training out the window. But it was great and everybody was lovely. And that was a really long time ago. But I'm glad to have gotten that out of the gates so I can have that first experience done with, so I didn't have to be so nervous the next time.
As soon as you do your first one, it's just like riding the bike every time.
Oh,
Depending
yeah,
on how famous your co-stars are.
Yeah, a very wobbly bike.
You've also done various TV shows and short movies and TV series like Even Lambs Have Teeth, Into the Forest, Before You Drive Me Crazy, Frigoland, Castaway, Psych, Dead Bear Walking, and Mrs. Miracle. What were they like to film and be a part of?
Yes, so okay, so a couple of those titles that you mentioned are actually feature films. And I think, okay, so of like the 3 or 4 feature films that I've gotten to be a part of, I was cut out of. So that was interesting because, you know, as an actor, you're constantly faced with rejection. Weird stuff happens all the time. And so I think it was really good for me to experience my first couple times of getting cut out of a project.
Yeah.
Because you just have to deal with it and pray that it wasn't your terrible performance that that made that happen. When in reality, it's just a timing thing and an editing thing. But all of those projects were like so different and amazing to work on. Some of them had like comedic actors that loved to improvise, which was super fun to be around because I had an improv background and love comedy and just love to laugh. So that was really great experiences. And then some others, you know, my first time working with like an all-female cast, all-female like directing team and everything, that was incredible, very empowering. And then some of those projects that you mentioned were also projects that my friends created, like a music video that I was a part of, and he was the musician. So then again, that's always really fun and closer to the heart when you're working with friends on creative projects. So all very different. They all totally create different memories for me. But looking back, I'm so grateful for the opportunities I've had to bring me where I am today. Like it has been just home run after home run after home run for me. It's been so fun. Yeah.
I do apologize for not seeing films. Unfortunately, when you're trying to write things out quickly as you can, you do miss the odd word or two. So
oh my gosh, no. And I was just considering that. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, no, I have done so many different types of media projects. It's cool.
Now, my first question, my burning question, I've seen this show many a time on Netflix, but never really put on the top of my list, which is Riverdale. And everyone who watches Riverdale is kind of like pulling their hair out saying, why have you not watched this yet? So you're actually in Riverdale as Laura in a recurring role. So talk me through Riverdale. What is it actually about?
Okay, well, I wanted to be on Riverdale ever since I heard that it was even going to be a thing. because I am a huge Archie fan. As a child, I had like 500, 600 Archie comic book collection, just obsessed. So Riverdale is a very dark, sexy Archie and the gang adventures. So far cry from like the bubblegum pop of the comics. This is like way darker. They're dealing with like occult stuff. They're dealing with serial murderers. They're dealing with like, okay, so for example, my character Laura was a dominatrix working in a sex club run by high school students. So this is the Riverdale that has been created. It's a very shady, sexy kind of world of high school students.
Every man has literally just gone, right, it's just set to 40 and saying, right, I'm going to start watching Riverdale now.
You gotta do it. Just because it's all of your favorites. It's like the whole gang is there.
Yeah.
And executed so well. Like the actors and actresses who play the parts, the set is unbelievable. The world that they've created, that Roberto created with that project, is just like next level. It's amazing. I can see why it's such a fan favorite, and it kind of crosses all ages. Like I have friends my age and older who kind of are like, that is my guilty pleasure, watching that show. They love it. And so I'm like, okay, great.
You've been in seasons 3 and 4 as Laura, obviously. You kind of have described your character as a dominatrix, but the only thing is there's always more than one layer to a character. So what is she like when she's not a dominatrix?
Oh, that's interesting. Like, what is Laura's dreams? I mean, interesting. Because she worked in, when it was first, it was called the Maple Club, which was the name of the brothel. And then it kind of changed to this like speakeasy rum runners club. So she became a waitress. So in my mind, Laura is, a struggling actor who probably just has a regular day job like this, and then probably goes to auditions during the day and tries to get out of the dominatrix lifestyle. I don't know. Now, I think she really likes it though. It's pretty fun, I gotta say, working in that Maple Club.
Now, season 5 is underway. It is on Netflix at this point in time. Will we see you back in season 5 at some point?
You know what? You never know. I don't know at this point. From what I've heard, that they've actually jumped into the future for this next season. So, I mean, my character was so secondary, tertiary. Like, if by magic happened and I got pulled back into it again, I would probably only find out like a week before filming to see if I was available. So I don't think so, but I will keep my toes crossed and my
but you'd love to go back. And again, Laura might not be a dominatrix anymore. She might have accomplished her dreams.
Right. Maybe she's running the club now.
She might be. Now, so we're just going to move away from Riverdale, which has actually been, I've moved it to the top of my list because I am actually quite a big comic book fan, and I do actually want to watch it. Now, there is another series on Netflix. This is in the UK because obviously everywhere is different wherever you are. There's a show on Netflix called Chesapeake Shores, which I have actually looked at. I've seen the trailer, and I wasn't quite sure about it, but after doing my research, because obviously I'm an interviewer, I have to do my research without knowing I'm interviewing, I am actually sort of become a lot more interested than I was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's kind of like, right, what do I watch out of Riverdale and Chesapeake Shores first? But considering my lady does actually enjoy her music quite a bit, I might move it to the front of our evening watch list from now on.
Awesome. What can I ask? What about it struck your fancy?
She really loves her music, and I must be honest, I really love mine as well.
Oh, I got you. Cool. Yeah. That show it's interesting. Like I feel like the target audience is a Hallmark audience, right? So you got your classic storylines of, family values, love. It doesn't get much trickier than love triangles and, little family dynamic issues. So it's a very, I think for a lot of people who like this show, it's just an easy to watch, easy to digest show. You kind of know what you're going to get in terms, you're not going to be shocked by any of the language. You're not going to be shocked by any of the themes. But one thing I really love, and for me as a TV viewer, I want to be shocked. I do want to be like blown away by what I'm watching. So this wasn't a show that I necessarily would have sought out, but getting to work on it and falling in love with it, and especially, like you mentioned, the musical aspect of it, I think that was new or new-ish for Hallmark to explore. And so in Chesapeake Shores, there's a story, one of the main storylines is the main character, Trace Riley, played by Jesse Metcalfe, is a now world famous country musician. And he just happens to go back to his hometown of Chesapeake Shores, fall in love with his high school sweetheart, classic Hallmark. And but one of the through lines of the story is that he's also this famous musician. He's got this band, they love to tour, and I'm his bandmate. I'm his co-writer, and kind of the thorn in his side, because I play that uncomfortable love triangle. I'm in there trying to mess things up for everybody with my own dreams and wishes. So yeah, Chesapeake Shores was a ton of fun because I got to play and record all the music with Jesse, who's an incredible musician himself. So we got to, record all the music in great studios here in Vancouver. And then on the show, basically play back and lip sync to ourselves kind of thing. And there was a ton of music in the show. Like we recorded like an album's worth of music for the most part. So for 3 seasons there, we were playing a ton of music. Last season, not so much. They had a condensed season. They only were able to shoot 6 episodes, and they didn't include the band storyline. So now that they head into season 5, same kind of thing. I'm a secondary character, so I won't know if I'm involved until I get the call, kind of thing. But I'm ready. I'm practicing in case anybody in Hallmark is listening.
Now I'm going to say Chesapeake Shores does have a lot of music in it, which you basically just said. Well, not so much on a ratio, but on a percentage of how much music is there compared to, say, like everything else.
Much more. Like percentage wise, I don't know, like 25% more.
Fair enough.
250% more.
I'll tell you that.
I don't know percentages. I'm not a mathematician.
Neither am I. Guess every once in a while.
I don't really see this kind of music on other shows, really much at all. I guess Nashville was a show that had a ton of music. There are some shows that have that as like their major storyline, but I think for the viewers and like for your lady, as you said, people who enjoy music, it's so nice to have that aspect peppered into TV shows. It just, for me, it just makes such a nice difference and kind of breaks up the storyline a little bit.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you have done some singing in Chesapeake Shores, as I know, because I have actually done my research. And did you actually write an episode as well?
Okay, so you probably went to my IMDb, and I didn't write an episode, which would be awesome. I would love to do that one day, but I wrote a song for the episode. Yes, so I wrote a song at the request of the director, because in the script, it just said that my character was being introduced to somebody, and I'm sitting out by the rocks and I'm playing a song, but there was no song written for the character. So I was just chatting with the director, and he said, hey, if you have anything that would fit, I would love to hear it. So I ended up just writing something specifically for the show, and it worked. And that was really cool. I got to sing and perform my own tune.
Is there actually a Chesapeake Shores soundtrack?
No, not yet.
And
I'm not too sure what the logistics are on that, but a lot of people ask, and specifically for one song in particular. I think there's one song in season 2 that's we play and we sing a lot, and it's such a good song. I can't even get it out of my head. So I have all the versions. I'm not allowed to share them, but I would love for there to be a released album or something one day. That'd be really cool.
Who knows? We all might get our wish, because I actually wouldn't mind hearing the soundtrack.
Yeah.
It won't be on Amazon Music or iTunes or anything like that, will it?
No, I don't think so, because I think when they buy the rights for the music, it's a very specific rights package that only allows for television play. So then you would have to re-buy the rights for the song in order for other distribution. And I think it's just an absolute headache. Nor do I think Hallmark has any wishes to get into the music industry anytime soon. So it's just probably like red tape. That's,
Imagine how many,
maybe I'll send you a song.
Could you imagine how many copies and downloads you'd get of Chesapeake's album?
Right? And like, do I get paid for that? That would be cool.
More than likely, you probably won't.
No, I
know. Anybody who is like me and hasn't seen Riverdale and Chesapeake Shores, over here they're both on Netflix, but in Canada and America, can you shed some light on that?
You know what? No, they're not on. I'm sorry, Chesapeake Shores is not on Netflix here in Canada. I think it's on Netflix in the States. Canada kind of gets the short end of the stick when it comes to programming. I don't know why we're left behind so often. It kind of drives me crazy, because so many of the productions that are shot in Canada, we don't get access to see them because they're for American networks. So
that kind of sucks, doesn't it?
It sucks. Yeah, it kind of sucks. But I understand. It's just, legalities. I mean, Chesapeake Shores was on Canadian Netflix for a while, but then it got taken off. So I don't know, like, what's going on. There's a reason for it, but I don't know it. But Riverdale is definitely on Netflix everywhere, I think.
I can actually beat you on the short end of a stick, because you can have HBO Max in Canada, but you can't get it over here.
Really?
Yeah. Because the only problem is here, we have a satellite channel called Sky, and they have a deal with HBO Max because Game of Thrones, Watchmen, they were all shown on Sky Atlantic, and Kaylee Kuroko's her new program, The Flight Attendant, is going to be released on Sky Atlantic as well. By the way, if Kaylee Kuroko is listening, I'd like to wish you congratulations for a nomination for a Golden Globe, which has been long overdue.
Hey, my friend worked with her. He said she was awesome.
She will be, bless her. But yeah, I can't watch Zack Snyder's 4-hour cut of Justice League when it comes out. I don't even know when I can watch it, to be honest.
You're going to have to get shrewd with your downloading and your sneaky.
I am literally going to have to. I'm going to have to do a video where I beg Sky to show the Snyder cut straight away. Literally, I might even do that. People can quote me on that because I do want to see it. Especially how disappointingly bad Justice League was. So last year,
this is all going over my head. I have been missing out on Justice League stuff.
What happened was something very bad happened in Zack Snyder's life a couple of years ago. So instead of him, he left Justice League, and Joss Whedon, who was the creator of Buffy, Firefly, and
just Joss Whedon, a
couple of Avengers movies. He finished it off, but a lot of people didn't really like it for a lot of reasons. So a lot of fans have been demanding that Warner Brothers release the Snyder Cut for about 2-3 years. And it's only until I think it was either last year or 2 years ago that Warner Brothers finally relented, and they said to Zack Snyder, right, make the Justice League movie you want. So it's actually been released in 5 or 6 weeks now. So everyone who's got HBO Max doesn't have to wait that long.
Amazing. That's really cool. I think I see like the Sucker Punch poster behind you. I think that they shot that here in Vancouver. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's done quite a few projects out here.
Yeah, because Arrowverse is shot in Vancouver. I'm surprised you haven't auditioned to be on one of those shows, to be honest.
So which show, sorry?
The Arrowverse. So you have Arrow, Flash,
Oh,
Supergirl,
of course.
Legends of
Oh yeah, I
Tomorrow.
have.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely auditioned for them. I just haven't got on though. Oh, I love those series. I loved Legends of Tomorrow was my favorite.
I've always kind of liked Dominic Purcell's Heatwave because he's just like he's not funny, but just the way he answers and his mannerisms make him funny.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was kind of
That's the show. That's for me. That's the comedy. I love that.
yeah, that's definitely much. So aside from praying and auditioning for every show in the Arrowverse, actually had a busy year last year. Obviously, you had Riverdale, but you also starred in The Good Doctor and Operation Christmas Drop.
Right.
So
Yes, it was a good year.
it was a good year for you. So
Yeah.
what were they like?
Awesome. It was so cool getting to work on Good Doctor. That was my first time being a guest star on a television show. So that was just like dream come true. What a set, what a cast, what a production team. Oh my God, it's crazy to be inside of a hospital in a film studio. Like it was just like done up to the nines.
Yeah,
I had a really great, I remember this week that I had, it must have been at the end of 2019. And it was such an awesome week because I went from shooting an episode of Riverdale to doing ADR for Operation Christmas Drop. So I went back into the booth to do some Christmas carol singing for this
yeah.
movie. And then I also had my table read for Good Doctor. So in the same week, I worked on 3 different productions. I had to give myself a pat on the back because
Yeah,
that's a rock star moment. It's just so cool. You know, I feel like, wow, I've done what I came here to do. This rocks. This is so cool.
did you have a
Yeah,
beer
it
to
was great.
celebrate?
Pardon?
Did you have a beer to celebrate your good week?
Oh yes, I did. A beer, probably a margarita or 2 if I know me.
Now, obviously, this year is 2021 and it's only 5, 6 weeks old. Have you got anything in the pipeline for the next year?
No, nothing. I have nothing on the go. I am waiting patiently and creating my own stuff in the meantime. So I'm doing a lot of writing and imagining and dreaming and helping other people, my friends with their projects and stuff, and just trying to kind of keep myself busy until the next project comes along. I did have an opportunity to work on a friend's film at the end of September of last year. So that was the only real bit of acting I did for all of 2020, aside from some auditions here and
Yeah.
there. But it was a very, very slow year for a lot of people, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Hopefully, this year will improve to the point where next year everything will be back to normal, and then there'll be so many auditions that you can go for. You'll wish you literally went for none of them, as is the
Totally.
case.
Yeah, right. I mean,
It's always like with us in England. I don't know if anyone from England's like. We always pray for hot weather, but when we get it, we don't like it. We wish for cold. Kind of like a vicious circle.
I know. I have a theory that people just love to have something to complain about. And so it doesn't really matter if they get their wish, they're going to have something else then to
Yeah,
complain about.
there's
You got
always
to keep complaining. Yeah.
right. Now, I actually have found 5 things out about you, and I just need your authentication of these facts that I found out. So,
Okay.
are you ready?
I'm ready.
Bring them up a bit further. There we go. Now, did you get your part in Chesapeake Shores by singing a bit of Johnny Cash?
Yes, I did.
Oh, please
I
sing
did.
Johnny Cash, please.
I am loving it. I am ready. I would love to sing the song. Now I didn't do my research because now I'm curious if he really wrote the song or if somebody else wrote it for him. And if that's the case, I want to be able to give them credit. So I only know it from Johnny Cash. It's called Satisfied Mind. I've heard Jeff Buckley sing a beautiful version. I've heard a couple other people sing a version. I'm going to just try and pull this out of my memory because I just tuned this up this morning. So it hasn't been, I haven't been playing it too often. But this is an auto harp for anybody who hasn't seen an auto harp before. It's basically a children's instrument because it has automated chords. I don't know if you can see, but like
Yeah.
all the chords are automatic. You just press them down and you look like a musician. It's awesome. Okay. How many times have you heard someone say, if I had his money, I would do things my way. Little they know that it's so hard to find one rich man in 10 with a satisfied mind. When my life is over and my time has run out, my friends and my loved ones, I will leave, there's no doubt. But one thing's for certain, when it comes my time, I'll leave this old world with a satisfied mind, with a satisfied mind.
No wonder you got the part. To be fair, you actually have gone the Emily Browning route of how to get a role, because she actually got the role of Baby Doll in Sucker Punch, believe it or not, by singing Deborah Schneider's favourite song.
What's his favorite song?
I can't remember, to be honest with you, but Emily Browning's voice is so lovely, she made the casting agent cry.
Oh man. Oh, that's awesome to hear. That's so cool.
Yeah, I actually have Sucker Punch soundtrack on my Amazon Music. I actually bought the soundtrack back in the day. So yes, that's how much I love that movie and how much I love Emily's voice.
I remember auditioning for Sucker Punch back in the day, and it was such an interesting audition process because the casting director, Michelle Allen, who was working with Zach very closely, they really wanted to develop this audition process where they had the actors come in and tell a monologue. Basically, you could come in and create your own audition. You had to come in with a story, a heartfelt story that had, a range that you could, show some emotion in your audition. But basically, it was left up to you to audition for whatever role in Sucker Punch. It was one of the coolest audition experiences. I didn't get into it, but it was awesome.
You can still say I auditioned for a Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
Something to tell the kids about when they want to follow you into acting. This isn't the only fact, as obviously you're aware. Is there a hope that you hope to work behind the camera someday?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a thing that I want to do. One thing about like movie making, the whole reason I wanted to be in this profession wasn't just to be an actor. I love acting, I love music, I love performing, but I love telling stories. And as an actor, you have such little say in what roles you get. It's really up to other people to kind of create your career. So I would love to have my feature film made. Now, whether or not I get into a director's chair, I don't know. Like, I love writing, and so that seems to be one of my strong suits. And I know so many amazing people like with directorial vision that I would almost rather leave the directing in their hands and then come on as a collaborator, a writer, producer, actor. I'd love to be able to act in projects that I had helped kind of get up off the ground. But then in my day job, I'm a photographer. Like I do a lot of photography, and I have for like 10 years now. So I'm behind the camera often. I film many auditions for people. I do a lot of coaching and small scale stuff like that. But in terms of getting behind the camera for like a big project, that would be, a generation away. Like that's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
But maybe that'd be kind of cool. How
Well, you
about
never
you?
know.
Would you ever get into filmmaking?
Would I like to? I'm not so much filmmaking, although I could point a few decent ideas in the idea of Hollywood executives who don't want reboots or remakes.
Hey, honestly, I think that's right. I mean, original ideas seem to be few and far between these days. So, if you have any ideas that steer people away from reboots, the better.
To be honest with you, I never thought I'd hear myself say this because obviously I'm 37 and I grew up in the 80s and 90s where westerns were literally like everywhere. But nowadays, there's not really that many of them.
No, though I just watched an incredible Western on Netflix called Sisters Brothers with Joaquin Phoenix and John C. Reilly. Oh my God.
I'll look that up actually.
It's so good. It's so good. I wish I remembered the name of of Jake Gyllenhaal is also in it, and then this other actor who just blew me away, and his name is escaping me. Oh my God, it's such a good Western. 'Cause I love those stories. They're kind of a slow burn.
Yeah.
Things aren't as like bang 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 sci-fi. They depend on excellent stories
Yeah.
and excellent acting and just a couple of scenes of rootin' shooting. I love it.
Now, you actually are where you are thanks to your high school teacher.
Hmm. Yeah, well, he gets credits for sure. I was thinking about this question and how blessed I was to have so many actually great teachers along the way. All through elementary school, junior high, and in high school, I had some choice teachers that just went above and beyond in their education and in their support, encouragement, extracurricular pushing to, continue outside of school. But in particular, when I was in grade 9 in junior high, this is wild, like this is unheard of to me still, but I had this teacher who not only was a full-time teacher and he had a military career
Wow.
and a family, he was also an aspiring director. So our grade 9 film class would, and he was doing this every year, the grade 9 film class would write a feature film, act in it, film it, edit it, and we would screen it at the local like Cineplex Odeon, like the proper big screen at the
Yeah.
end of the year. So we got to create a film, like a full film. I mean, it's not a great film, but we still got to create a
You've got
film
creative
and
something.
yeah, and see ourselves up on the screen. That was the best schooling kind of like lesson I could have ever asked for. I mean, it was so fun. And it was working on that project that I realized how much I love working on film sets in particular. I'd always done plays and musicals, and it's nice to get the instant gratification of an audience, that's great. But the thing I loved so much about the film was just the teamwork involved, the production side of things, the camera people, the sound, all of these moving parts coming in just for one vision blew me away. And I was hooked. I had to be in film. I knew that was specifically the direction I wanted to go in. So that was James McClellan, who was our teacher. And he still has that program going back in Winnipeg, where I'm from.
Wow.
It's amazing that people would be like that and teach like that. Like, what? That's incredible.
Yeah, we need something like that over here in England in every school.
Honestly, film programs, like it in a way, it saved me. Like, I remember just feeling like, oh, what direction to go? What do I want to do? I feel like the ceiling is so low where I was living. And all of a sudden, I always had an affinity for films, but all of a sudden when I was making films, the world opened up. Then you can make whatever story you want come to life. And I found like my best friends through that kind of creative process, like-minded people who just want to get their creations up off the ground. Yeah, so good. I also want to give a shout out to my, not that she would necessarily see this, but Margot Wilson Kaler was my improv teacher in high school. And I think the mixture of like a great improv training as well as great film training, like that was for me, my catalyst for going forward as a performer.
Wow. It's almost worthy of being an actual movie itself, isn't it?
Yeah,
There
sure.
you go. That's a project you can do, actually. Now, you were in a band as well, weren't you?
Yes, I was. And that has been probably the highlight of my life. So I totally took a break from acting 2013 it started, and the band broke up just about 5 years ago. So for 4 years, I guess, I toured with this rock and roll band in Canada. We just did tours coast to coast, which
Yeah.
is a long tour. If you've ever been to Canada, it's
It's
a
like
hell of
3,000 miles wide, isn't it?
it's a hell of a terrain. Yeah, yeah. And we went coast to coast multiple times, but that was like that was the missing piece in terms of me figuring out who I was and my future. I think that rock and roll aspect was missing in my life leading up to that opportunity. But getting a chance to get, like, I mean, I had four brothers basically in a van, and we just toured for 4 years, and it was the best. I met so many incredible people, and we just sang rock and roll, and I played piano and did backups and a couple duet solos, and lots of tambourine, lots of rhythm, lots of dancing. It was a dream come true. Like, my only job was to get my butt in the van early every morning,
Yeah.
get to the place, do a sound check, play the show, do it all again the next day. It was awesome.
Sounds like you have and are living the dream.
It is the dream. This is the dream. I mean, there's obviously a huge sacrifice that comes from that too. I mean, I'm in my mid 30s, and it's like, oh right, other people in their mid 30s have families and tons of money and job security and RSPs. I mean, not that I don't have an RSP, I do, but it's probably not nearly as impressive as other people with a little bit more stability in their life. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. This is like the life for me, for sure.
You wouldn't want any other life, would you?
No, and I don't think I could. I think I'm too like spicy, temperamental. Like, I would fizzle. I wouldn't last long anywhere else, I don't think.
At least you're honest enough to admit it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, finally, what I've started doing, because I've decided about doing something different every year, I start going through people's Twitter or Instagram and seeing some of the things that there's actually on there. I mean, to be honest with you, there's some singing on yours, but there's actually found a retweet from a certain Jesse Metcalf, and I think you
Oh,
know which one this is.
this is one of our songs from
It
Chesapeake.
is, yes.
Yeah.
I actually listened to it, and I was just literally like awestruck. And the lyrics to it, I actually thought to myself, I can just relate to this. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
love that scene. I know the one you're talking about. We're all sitting in the cafe, and we just spontaneously break out into song, as you
Jesse's
do.
got his guitar like this.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember we had such a laugh filming that scene. Jesse was being such a goof that day, and he kept joking about how he wanted to turn Chesapeake Shores into a full musical. And so he would just wander around like a minstrel playing his guitar, singing what he was feeling. He was just being such a goof. But that was a lot of fun, and I love singing with those guys. I'm trying to think of the song now. It's there's the theme of the song is there's more where that came from.
Yeah.
I think that's where it is. It's just about recognizing the love you have with another person or a group of friends, and recognizing that this isn't going away, that we obviously have a special connection, and there's more where that came from. It's so sweet.
Yeah. If anybody does want to find it, it is on Megan's Instagram, which I'm sure she'll give you the link to near enough in a couple of minutes. So now, obviously, you've done your fair share of auditions, music, etc., etc. So, what advice would you give for someone who's hoping to break out either in movies, music, or both?
Okay, great. Good question. Um, I was just talking. I have a new friend. He's this Esteban is like this 16-year-old Guatemalan kid who we've connected with over Instagram, and we were zooming yesterday because he's feeling like he wants to break out, and he doesn't know how
Yeah.
or how to start or how to get his family on board or how to just even start. And I remember that feeling of being so frustrated and wanting to start and not really knowing how. And I was thinking about how difficult that would be if I didn't have my parents supporting me and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I would just say, find your group, find at least one other person who shares your dreams or beliefs or at least some kind of passion, and I would say start creating something right then and there with a friend. Ideally, you want to create a group of people that truly believe in you and applaud you and want to see you succeed, truthfully want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
And then you can do no wrong. Then you just keep going, keep going, keep going, and it kind of will reveal itself to you. But as long as you're creating projects with like-minded people and always, doing it, whatever research you can, whatever schooling you can, there's so much free content now on YouTube and whatnot. There's really no excuse to not be able to just take your phone and start shooting. I mean, now with TikTok and Instagram, if you want fame, it could really just be around the corner. I don't want fame. That's not it for me. But I do want to create projects with people I love my whole life long. So I would just say start there, and you never know who you'll meet along the way and what kind of projects will come up.
So basically, work your ass off, but at the same time, don't be famous, be infamous.
Well, work your ass off, but make sure you're having fun. Like, as long as it's joyful and it really brings you energy, keep going. I have to say, like, when I went to film school, of the 24 people in my class, 2 of us are still going. And, yeah, it's been 15 years or whatever, but still, like, I recognize now it's not in everybody's hearts, or perhaps they have different ideas of what they want. So I would just say, like, ask yourself, is it really truly what I want to go through? Because it's a crazy challenging career in terms of not having stability and whatnot, but it's definitely worth it if you get good energy from it. But yeah, keep working, work at it, and don't quit. Too many people seem to put time limits on themselves. I'll give my dreams 5 years. But it's like, well, dreams don't really work like that. The universe doesn't really work on your timeline. You kind of have to give it up and find ways to incorporate a balanced life into an artistic life.
Definitely. So if anybody does want to find you on social and look at this video where you performed with Jesse Metcalfe, how would they go about it?
So I'm Instagram, and it's just my name, Brittany Willacy, at Brittany Willacy.
Can't miss it.
Can't miss it. It's there.
Is it just Instagram, or have you got Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, or anything?
I have a very inactive Twitter. I just follow comedians on my Twitter, so don't follow my Twitter if you want like updates or my hot takes, because I'm not really given hot takes on there, but I love it for comedians hot takes, so I'm constantly liking stuff on Twitter. And then I'm currently working on my my webpage, so I'll be able to have a proper webpage. It'll just be my name, BrittanyWillacy.com, but I'm revamping it right now to get my photography portfolio all together and offer some services. I want to start doing Zoom singing, joy of singing classes with people. So I'm setting myself up to start making other people's karaoke dreams come true.
Or lip sync battles even.
Or lip sync battles. Sing with me. I love singing. So if I can share that with more people, the better.
So my quiz that we're doing now has actually had a bit of a reboot as well. I change it up from year to year. I don't like to keep asking the same questions because we do tend to get a bit boring after a while. So some of it has changed, but there is some new stuff in here. So, so as for the Final Cut quiz of 2021, we will start with the first question, which is, I'm going to give you another, number of movie genres. Excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied here. Genres, and you have to say yes or no as to whether you accept an offer to appear in them. So,
Okay, well, all of us already, this is a ridiculous question because you already know what my answers are going to be, don't you?
there is actually one in there that well, actually, it's not on here, but I have literally just thought of what one thing that's been missing, actually.
Okay,
So I'll start with that one, which I don't think, which is not on this list, and I've only just literally come up. So, musical.
absolutely.
There we go.
Say it again, sir.
Science fiction,
100%.
drama,
Definitely.
animation, or if you
Oh,
do like this sort of stuff, Japanese anime.
oh my God, yes, I am obsessed with Hayao Miyazaki right now. Miyazaki? Yeah. Like the Studio Ghibli stuff.
Yeah,
Please sign me up. I'm in.
bless you. Horror movies.
Totally.
Ooh.
Love to.
Or we need to have a horror movie debate then at some point.
I would love to be. Those are, I think, very challenging to act in. I am, yes, very challenging. As an actor, I got to say, like, putting yourself in that kind of headspace for that long is very hard on the spirit. So it would be a challenge, but I think it would be a very fun challenge.
Fair enough. What about an action movie?
Definitely. Oh my God, yes.
Now, there is comedy and romance, but if you want to merge them into rom-com or keep them separate, that's entirely your choice.
Well, I would like to be in a romance and a comedy and a rom-com.
You're not picky, are you?
I would like a job, please.
We actually talked about this before we went on there. What about a Western movie?
Oh my God. I think that would probably be my dream. That would be like my number one.
Well, who knows if Clint Eastwood still wants to do a Western.
I'm free, Clint. He's got short filming days too, so that sounds great.
Right, now, this is a bit of a tricky subject, but I'll say it anyway. Video games that have been turned into movies. So we'll say Resident Evil,
Yes,
Halo even.
absolutely. Absolutely. And the one that comes to mind, actually funny enough, because I just rewatched it this past year, but the Mario Brothers movie. Do you
Or
remember that
kind of
movie?
90s cheese you'll ever see in your life.
Oh my God, I would love to be a part of that remake. It is such a classic, and I feel like it nowadays with the technology that we have,
It could be
whoa,
so
we
much
could
better,
make, oh yeah,
definitely.
totally. It's so good.
Right, so this is going to get your thinking caps on a little bit. Obviously, you know how business works, so I'm going to go to you and say, I'm making a movie. It's whatever you wish it to be, so it can be any of what we just discussed.
Great.
But I need you to pick a director and 4 leads.
Yeah, so I had a very hard time picking my director, but I did choose P.T. Anderson.
Ooh,
Yeah. My favorite movie is Magnolia. So I chose P.T. Anderson because of that blend of dramatic comedy.
mhm,
He does it better than anybody, maybe.
yeah,
So here's my leads. And this goes into who I want to work with.
right.
Because, right, okay, so Whoopi Goldberg,
Ooh,
Dustin Hoffman,
ooh,
Jackie Chan,
ooh,
and me. I
wow.
know those are my 4 leads in my P.T. Anderson movie. It's going to be weird, but it's going to be good.
That's probably the quickest that anyone's ever answered that question.
Well, I did a lot of thinking about it because you gave me this question,
Right.
and I've been sitting with my answers, like losing sleep over it a little
I've
bit.
been like, oh, I can't wait to answer this. I can't wait to answer.
Okay, so do you have yours? Do you have your pick?
I actually do, yes. Although I must
Okay,
admit, I'm not picky when it comes to actors and actresses, so I could literally give you about 50 to 100. But I have always said I would love to work with Chris Nolan on a movie, so I will say Chris Nolan's my director. Looking at all this lot and posting about, I do love Emily Browning, so
Emily Browning.
I would love to do a movie with Emily Browning. I do feel that Vanessa Hudgens is a bit understated and how good
Oh,
of an actress she actually is and
yeah.
the lovability that she has. So I would have them two as females. As for males, I would definitely have Tom Hardy. And if it was going to be like an action-y movie, I would have Russell Crowe because Man of Steel. What more do you need?
Wow, Russell and Tom. That's a good looking cast you got there.
I know, and two Aussies as well. So I don't want anybody to go in the comments and say he's an Englishman, he doesn't like Aussies. I love the Aussies. So many of them
Okay.
have come from like Home and Away and Neighbours and made a really good career for themselves. Even Hugh Jackman's been in an Aussie
Absolutely.
soap.
Oh my God, I love Hugh Jackman. I can't even believe that he should be number one on my list of people I want to work with, but I think I forgot him off. I had so much fun writing out all of these people's names
Yeah.
as to like, and picturing working with them. Like, oh, this is such a great, fun journal meditation.
All right then. You've starred in a lot. You've sang a fair bit. So, was there any TV or movies that you'd love to have done but you couldn't for whatever reason? I mean, Emily Browning behind me wasn't actually meant to be Baby Doll. It was meant to be Amanda Seyfried, but I think she had scheduling issues, so she had to drop out, and Emily got the role instead.
Right, right. And another one that I heard of, I remember hearing that Will Smith was supposed to play Neo in The Matrix.
Yeah, there was
And it
that.
went to Keanu. Whoa. And when you think about, those iconic roles being played by totally different people, like, yeah, it would have been a completely different franchise. So I don't have anything quite on that level because that would be insane, amazing, insane. But I did definitely lose out on a couple projects when I was with my band. And that was a really tough time because I realized I couldn't do both at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who likes to do it all at the same time. I really have a lot of pots on my stove, generally speaking. So that was very challenging. I missed out on the opportunity to be in this really great play that my friend had written and was directing. And then I missed out on two parts that would have been really cool. One with practical puppets, and another one I would have been a yoga teacher in a TV show. So, you got to kind of roll with the punches, and I just trust that it was meant to be how it was. And I'm really glad I got the music in and out of my system, and getting a chance to tour like that. I wouldn't have changed it for anything. Like it was definitely worth missing out on the other stuff for a while. Yeah.
All right then. We've sort of already talked about this, but name me 10 or 20 actors or actresses that you haven't starred with in projects yet that you would like to star with before you retire. Now,
Honestly,
there's one constant actress who everybody names.
Oh.
Yep, I will be very surprised if you do not name this actress. I'm not going to say who it is because obviously
it's going to be Meryl Streep or Kate Blanchett, and I'm not going to name her. It's Meryl Streep. Yeah, I'm not going to name her because everybody's going to say Meryl Streep. I mean, she's on my list. I have a couple extensive lists here, but
you do.
I've left Meryl off because she, of course, I would die to work with her.
You wouldn't.
You'd have to be crazy not to want to work with Meryl Streep or Kate Blanchett. Okay, so here's my list. Oh, I don't even want to make it. This is non-concrete. Okay, let's just say it's non-definitive.
In the theory stage.
We're in the drafting because exactly.
The theory stage. So yeah.
Okay, here we go. So I got Bill Murray, Tina Fey, Kristen Wiig, Mel Brooks, Fred Armisen, Jordan Peele, Keegan Key, Miranda July, Viola Davis, Seth Rogen, Jack Nicholson, Frances McDormand, Ricky Gervais, Amy Poehler, Jack Black, Donald Glover, Goldie Hawn, and Kurt Russell. I'll just say Kurt Russell too, just to be nice.
Yeah, because you have to. Did you count 18 or 20? Because I've got 18.
I don't know. Can I add a couple more?
Yeah, you can add 2.
Oh my God, because now I have another list on my phone. I was really like losing sleep over this. I'm not even kidding you. It was too much fun. I mean, you got Nicole Kidman, Anthony Hopkins, Steve Buscemi, Emily Blunt, Richard Gere, Kathy Bates. Arnold Schwarzenegger is on my list, actually. The guys from Broken Lizard, the guys from The Lonely Island. Meryl Streep did make it onto my
list. That's good enough.
Will Ferrell, Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, Selma Hayek, Edward Norton, Mahershala Ali, Sandra Bullock, Laverne Cox. I mean, like, I got a list going. I'm ready to work with any of you. Beyonce's on here.
I am blown away. I really am blown away. Everyone's
Samuel L. Jackson. He was supposed to be up there.
yeah.
Oh,
Everyone
I should say my friend's name too.
everyone's like, oh, I don't know. I can't think. But now that you've done that, no one has an excuse to say that anymore. It's like I interviewed someone who had 2 lists ready and waiting.
Oh, I got more than 2 lists. I got a lot of lists.
There is actually an extra part to this, ladies and gentlemen. So if it was just my guest that you wanted to learn about, then that's it. That's the end of the interview. So if you want to learn a bit more about me, then by all means carry on. And
Here's what I have a question. I wanted to know. Yeah. I really wanted to know, who are your favorite, or who would be your top interviewees? Again, list of 10 or 12, lay them on me.
You want 10 or 12, or do you want me to go
10 or 20, I
brain stops? Right, Chris Nolan, Hans Zimmer, Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Chris Pratt, everyone in the MCU, basically, everyone in the DCEU, Pixie Lott, Katy Perry.
Oh.
Yeah. This, I should just point out, this is from everything, not just
See,
anything else.
now you're including musical. Like, oh my God, my brain is
honestly. There's so much. Nicki Minaj, Ariana Grande, Jessie J, Channing Tatum. I've even forgot where I am with everything. So Chrissy Teigen, John Legend, LL Cool J, Mark Calloway, Pedro Pascal, the entire cast of Mandalorian.
You didn't say Mark Hamill.
Yes, Mark Hamill will be there. Oh, I would have loved to interview this man. I really would have. My co-host would have loved that as well. Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Sir Ian McKellen, LeBron James, Scarlett Johansson, Dave Bautista. Because I actually had an inkling about Dave Bautista. That's why I've made sure that's there, just to remind me of a few things. Everyone who's been on Game of Thrones. Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, Henry Cavill, Zazie Beetz, Donald Glover. Hold on, who else is there? All the big cast of The Big Bang Theory. Hold on, who have I seen in concert? It's been a while. Little Mix, one. Everyone who was in Fifth Harmony, I would love to interview. I would really love to do not so much a non-disclosure one, but like, say, No Topic is Off Limits with someone like Simon Cowell.
Oh, good one. Like Simon Cowell meets like Gordon Ramsay, like getting that kind of
honestly, I would not hold back my acid tongue. I do actually have one, but I don't do it that often. But yeah, I've got tons. I mean, everyone who's in the Arrowverse, from Stephen Amell, Robbie Amell, Italia Witch is not in there, but she is married to Robbie, and she is absolutely funny as a woman I've ever seen. Melissa Benoist, Chris Wood. Oh, there's just too many names, but I think that's roughly.
It's so cool. A lot of these actors are just like hanging around Vancouver all the time.
Shooting. Yeah, literally.
It's so cool. Yeah.
One of my co-hosts is actually from British Columbia, so he's literally about an hour and a half away from Vancouver.
Where's he?
To be honest with you, I can't remember the name of where he is, but he's not that far from Vancouver.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of cities kind of all in one big borough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, have you had a chance to come out here? There's a reason they shoot here all the time. It's so beautiful.
To be honest with you, up until I started watching Arrowverse, I probably would have said no, but the more I've watched it and the more I've seen it, I really want to go, or have a chance to at some point.
Yeah.
A
lot of their stuff is...
What I'd really like to do is rent a log cabin in British Columbia and just disappear for a week.
Yes, you can do that.
Because the place is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. It's paradise over here. It really is. I grew up in the prairies, very cold winters, barren. I mean, it has its own beauty. There's definitely a beauty to the prairies, but being by the mountains, being by the ocean, these forests, these old growth forests, it's like so spiritual. I don't know how to describe it. It just takes your breath away to be
It's
able
beautiful.
to explore. Yeah.
Mm. Sounds like my ideal holiday getaway, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah.
So what else
Welcome
have you got
anytime.
for me?
What's that? Sorry?
What else have you got for me?
I don't know. I guess how long have we been chatting for? Should I give you an outro? Should I
You can do whatever you want. You're leading. It's up to you.
I've enjoyed talking with you so much. I feel like you've asked such great questions. I feel like a princess. It's pretty fun to get interviewed. I got to say thank you so much for
You're welcome.
your
Oh, there is one more
all of
question.
this. How I do want to know how you got into this. Like what makes somebody interested in being an interviewer for
Right.
people like me?
Well, actually, my movie career started because of well, to be fair, I'm not actually sure where he is anymore. So there was actually an interview. I forget his name. I didn't ever used to forget his name, but it was a case. That's it. Alex Zane is, I think his name was. He actually said that Iron Man 2, as in the second one in the Iron Man franchise, one that's not really as good as Iron Man, but still worth a look. I think it was him who said that Iron Man 2 is not as good as the first, and everyone will walk out. So I went to watch it, nobody walked out. And from there, I decided to just do movie reviewing, but obviously, as time has gone on and we've had the pandemic, I've decided that movie reviewing's all right, but I just kind of have so much more to offer. So I thought I'd give interviewing a shot, and thanks to my lady, she's actively encouraged me to pursue the dream. And lo and behold, I've been doing it for, I can't remember how many years I've been doing it for. But there's only been like one or two really bad ones. I'm not going to say who they are because they'll probably badmouth me on social. But there's only been one or two really bad ones. But everyone else has been absolutely lovely. Even when I interview for our other podcast, Body Slams and Dropkicks, everyone is just so lovely. And there's some people that sometimes make me go a bit, well, why have you asked for that one to be removed? One person, I can't remember who it was, somebody actually wanted the question of who was your celebrity crush removed once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe they were just not wanting to upset their wife or husband.
To be honest with you, if that be the case, it doesn't matter because you fancy someone. There's a lot of a difference between fancying someone and literally saying, right, I'm going to leave my other half for it. I will
Yes,
tell you who two of my crushes were when I was a teenager, if you want.
please.
One of them's actually Canadian, actually.
Oh, who?
Are you familiar with a Canadian lady called Trish Stratus?
I'm sorry, I'm not. No.
Let's just say she was in WWE in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and let's just say that every wrestling fan was a fan of hers. And
Got you.
yeah, and there's one lady who's actually from England. You probably won't have heard of her, but the name of this lady, honestly, she's 42 now, but she doesn't look a day over 25. She's just so beautiful, even as time has gone on. And her name is Rachel Stevens. If you want to have a quick look on your iPhone, see who that is, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. And is she in the wrestling world as well?
She's actually a pop star. She was with a group in the olden days called S Club 7.
What? I love S Club. S Club.
So you know who she is.
Okay, so maybe I'm not spelling her name right.
It's Rachel as in Rachel and Stevens as in Stevens.
Okay.
But there is more than one way to spell Stevens, so it's fair enough.
Oh yeah, she's beautiful.
Exactly.
Gorgeous.
Every guy when S Club first launched wanted Rachel Stevens. They didn't want any of the other three. Everyone just wanted Rachel. She was named. There was a lads called FHM. I think she was the bombshell of the decade once because that's how popular she was with the guys.
Nice. Nice.
I know.
That's awesome. We had a running joke in our band, my old band, Head of the Herd. We would call anytime we had a key change in a song, we would call it an S Club change because it's pretty famous for having key changes in their songs that keep
Yeah,
getting incrementally higher. That's really cool. Rachel Stevens, what a hottie.
I know.
What is she doing nowadays? Is she
She's not in the
singing?
music. Yeah, she's not in the music business anymore. I believe she's done a bit of judging, and I think she's in property now, mainly with her other half, because he was a property developer when he met her.
That's where the money is.
Yeah, she's got two
Right.
two girls as well. So it's nice
Nice.
to say they will look as gorgeous as their mother will be in 14 years.
Well, that's a cool life for her too. Sounds like she's kind of had a wide range of
Yeah.
interests and careers. That's my kind of girl.
Yep. And Rachel Stevens is also on my bucket list, as I call it, of people to interview, as is Trish Stratus.
Awesome. Nice. I hope that happens for you. I
So
mean, it
I
will.
genuinely hope. I've never really wished for anything in my life aside from good health, but I have an interview list bigger than my parents' house that I actually want to get before I die. So if I can even get half of the 2,000 people who's on my bucket list, I'd be happy with that.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I was just watching a quick blurb on Larry King today, and he was just talking about how he had done it's like 60,000 interviews or something like that in his life. And, you know, he just said that's how he's so good at it. He just, when you do something that often, that
Yeah,
much, you become a master. And he was a master.
he was. Have I actually have you actually sort of got a liking for being an interviewer now that you've done it to me?
I do. I love finding out about people and like who are you? What are you doing? This is so cool. Connecting. Like this is such a privilege to get to connect with you in England. Like what world is this? This is amazing. It's so awesome that you would have even reached out in the first place. So I'm always fascinated when people have the same kind of interests that I do because we are obviously very cut from the same cloth, it seems.
Pretty much, near enough.
Yeah.
Me and my co-hosts, we do like wrestling, although we do disagree on a lot of things. Me and Nathaniel actually have a disagreement about who is the greatest wrestler of all time. He is not so much a fanboy, but I would pretty much say that his tongue is well and truly up Shawn Michaels' derriere because that's how much he loves him. I am of the belief that this man is the greatest.
Oh my God, The Undertaker.
He is the greatest of all time. I will not
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
anyone else tell me otherwise.
I have a friend who would deeply agree with you. Absolutely.
Oh, can I borrow him actually? Because we're actually going to do a Taker versus HBK special. So at some point, so I'm trying to get everyone I can who does actually like Taker to sort of be on my side.
Awesome.
Have you got any more questions, or is that it? Because to be honest with you, I'm having such a good time, I could carry on.
I know I could carry on too, but I think I should probably go make myself some lunch and let you get on with your day. You must be.
Yeah, I do need a coffee anyway. It's actually evening over here. It's 7:25. So if my maths is right, and it usually is with time zones, you're in Vancouver, so that makes it 11:30 nearly.
11:30. Yep.
I watched a lot of NBA in my youth, so you tend to get a bit familiar with it when you literally watch the Chicago Bulls and then Kobe Bryant, may his soul rest in peace, and everyone else. So yeah, I'm kind of good with that. So, well, since you finished off asking the questions, you can do the outro.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me, Dean. I am Brittany Willacy, the multifaceted singer, actor, musician. What do you need me for? I'm your girl. And you can find me at Brittany Willacy on my social handles. Thanks, you guys, for having me.
And as for me, I will see you next time.